So it's been 2.5 years, 147 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, how many different countries?
Many. Yeah.
Uh, all time, 58 different countries.
Wow, eh?
We've reached people in 58 different countries, and there's a few, of course, that stand out that we've had a lot more listeners in. Um,
Canada.
um, Portugal and the Ukraine and Greece and Argentina and Myanmar and Panama are at the bottom of the list.
Aw.
They've only had, very few downloads from
Mm-hmm.
those countries.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Canada represents 40% of our downloads.
Mm-hmm.
The United States, 25% of our downloads.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm dying to go there now, Singapore.
Has 1,000% download.
It's
Just
it's
kidding.
like number three on our list.
Yeah.
Um, we have lots of people in the UK, throughout Europe. Yeah, up in the north of Europe, Sweden, and Denmark and Norway.
Yeah.
And down on the other end of the earth, Australia. Australia represents a big portion of our downloads. So we have people all around the world listening in, and that makes us happy.
Mm-hmm.
There's 147 episodes. Yeah, I guess I shouldn't expect that they all rocked your world. Some were stronger than others. When you look at some of the episodes, there's a few episodes that really, really stand out.
Funnily enough, they're the spiritual episodes. Am I right? Wrong?
Um,
Borderline?
I got to get that screen up.
He's on his phone. Trying to bring up
Huh.
screens here from our hosting website stats.
It's funny, a minute ago, it gave me the ability to sort, and now it doesn't.
Hmm.
Let's see. Oh, well, there's a few that stood out at the top of the list, and I can't get that list, it appears.
Do you want me to read them off?
Have you sorted them by popularity?
Yep. So there's the,
How did you get there?
well, I'm not sure because yours is an app, but I went to stats, podcast overview, all time, and then it says top episodes just down the page a little bit.
Oh, that's sorted by popular. There we go. Yeah, I think big topics were the life between lives,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Most downloaded.
judgment and guilt and shame, second most downloaded. People generally wanting to know what is hypnosis. This is the third most downloaded.
Is it mind control?
The art of self-hypnosis. And then there is sort of a fall off, and people were interested in the nighttime mind and they were interested in money. And then we sort of get into sort of an average
Mm-hmm.
so that they all sort of tend to have the same amount of popularity. Anyway, the goal, we're reestablishing our goals. I think intentions are such an important thing. And I think that goals are necessary because they guide you. And so we talked recently about a goal of helping 100,000 people.
Woohoo.
That's a big number. Um, I feel like we've helped lots of people. We've had the blessing, the honor to help lots of people, and 100,000 would be huge number.
I mean, I think we're like 10% there already, so
Uh,
or not 2%, 2%, not 10%.
maybe 2%, maybe
10%.
2% there. So it's really about, how do we help more? How do we be more helpful? What are we trying to do? From your perspective, tell me what you're trying to do with this podcast.
I think I'm trying to help people through one little nugget each podcast. So if somebody can walk away with one little nugget of change or an aha moment, um, I think that's what I am trying to do. Trying to help them understand that maybe what they're going through is normal. And I do that personally by sharing my own experiences on the podcast. Um, I think, in my opinion, it's helpful when people hear that somebody else is going through it, or they can resonate with that maybe, um, and think, oh, well, if she's working on it, or if she's worked on it, or if that was a past thing for her, maybe I can move through this too.
Mhm.
How
Yeah,
about you?
when we created a mission statement for the business, for me, it was really important that we talk about learning and teaching, and that learning comes first. Because, yeah, everything that we teach was learned. Everything that we try to teach is a mental experiment that went well.
Yeah.
A an attempt to change the way I think for my own greater happiness, my own greater peace of mind, and then discoveries on that journey and to share those. And so far, with clients and stuff, clients and talks and teachings, um, we have really had um, a positive impact on the people that we've connected with. Um, Basically sharing what we have learned.
Yeah.
And, you know, I, we're not sitting here pretending to be all
Gurus.
all enlightened and stuff.
Yeah.
Not at all. But we are, I think, unique in that we are in pursuit of that. We are um, we're focused on every day trying to understand ourselves and our lives better, understand the way our mind works, how it helps us in some ways, and how it uh, hinders us in other ways, and understanding how that mind gets created and how that mind can interfere with our own happiness. And then we try to share that stuff. We try to help clients with it, and we try to offer it here in the podcast. So the goal is to help as many people as possible learn how to understand and make changes to their own mind,
Hmm.
which is the lens through which they experience the world. It's the funnel through which the world comes to them.
Yeah.
It comes through your mind, comes through perception, it comes through the interpretation of perception. Those interpretations can be really habitual, um, because the mind is a habit forming thing.
Hmm. And I think for many people, if not everybody at some point in their life, they are under the belief that they can't change their mind, that they're sort of stuck with what's going on in their mind. And I think that comes by people naturally because, like we say, most of our thoughts that we think today are those from yesterday. And so if those thoughts are churning, 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 then if we don't know there's another way, or that you can't change it, um, or there's, the possibility, if you don't know the possibility is there to make incremental changes, um, you just feel like you're under the thumb of your mind, you know?
And even when you try to change it, sometimes it feels like you can't. Even
Yeah.
when you become aware of something that's getting in the way and you want to think differently, you want to act differently, you want to be different. Um, it's sometimes it feels impossible. And that's where our hypnotism really kicks in. So and we've experienced that ourselves, right? And gone to hypnosis and self-hypnosis and meditation, um, and um, sort of deep, deep, quiet mind techniques to try to understand ourselves and make changes within ourselves um, that are like a program. Once the program changes, the results are always different. Um, and so it's really understanding just how much the mind itself and the way we use it is really the problem. It's really the source of all the unhappiness and all the unwanted emotion and all the incredible conflict that we have in ourselves and with others and with the world. Um,
Mm.
so this is, yeah, I mean, that's the goal, right? The goal for us is to understand our own minds and do our best with it. Our goal in our work is to help other people understand their minds and do the best with their mind. Our goal is to help as many people as possible. And we tried to, yeah, get specific about that. So 100,000 is a big number. And so we created the school because one-on-one in a chair is useful, but I think sometimes when I look at the patterns, right? When I look at the history of my clients and I look at the commonalities, and there are some really strong, strong commonalities for people. I look at those commonalities and I think, well, taking some of that stuff and putting it into sort of pre-packaged meditations and instructions, um, because that is just so common across the board with my clients, I think there probably isn't a person that can't benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
And so rather than go through the process of bringing you in and going through the interview and going through goal setting and then diving into a program of hypnosis, um, which is still great, it's still wonderful, it's still very meaningful, it's still part of what we do. Could we put these things together in sort of a pre-recorded form to help everybody,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Well, that's sort of, along the lines of your reframes.
Yeah, that's
Um,
exactly what they're meant to be.
yeah. And we've had some great feedback from the reframe classroom in our school. Um, yeah, we're just excited to get that off the ground. And we've got 35 people in the school now, and it's just growing a little bit each week, and people are consuming the content and letting us know how it is.
Well, other than mentioning it here, we really haven't promoted it, and it
Mm-hmm.
needs to be promoted, but I've been reluctant to promote it till I at least get a level of content on there that I think is meaningful and can be the beginning of somebody's process, and then I can catch up to them. Um, so it's not so much the numbers as it is the desire to be more helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and I can't imagine being more helpful without being more interactive.
Yeah.
I find it necessary. I mean, it's nice when somebody says, "Hey, that was really helpful, thank you." But it's useful when somebody says, "Well, I need more of this," or "that didn't deal with that," or um, "all this is doing is triggering this."
Yeah.
Right? Um,
Yeah.
we share a lot of reframe ideas on the podcast, and I see that as sort of the first fundamental step. That's the widest reach. That's us trying to just put some stuff out there every day
Mm-hmm.
to help people, as they approach their day. My vision is that people are sitting there in the morning, um, and thinking about their minds and listening in to the things we have to say and suggest, and to better understand themselves, if nothing else. If nothing else, engage their day with a better understanding of why they think what they think, why they feel what they feel, how that comes about. And then, whenever possible, engage it, slow it down, and even stop it. All the stuff that makes you unhappy.
Hmm. Yeah, because I mean, you can. It feels like you can't, but there are those little moments before dive off the diving board into the into the emotional turmoil of life sometimes, whatever you're going through in that moment. And there is a moment where you can step back. It is possible. And I think maybe listening to our podcast gives people a little bit of hope that there is a possibility to do that, that is possible, even if it's just a little bit, right? Don't expect, oh, there's a person in a kayak right out there. Um, I wouldn't expect somebody to be really good at this the first day. I mean, gosh, we've been doing it for a long time and we're still learning and trying and doing our best. Um, um, but there is that time in between something happening around you or inside of you and you feeling an emotion and not getting sucked into the emotion.
Well, just understanding those processes of your mind that guide you there, where the emotion even comes from,
Hmm.
why the emotion arises, why the thought arises. So that goal is that the podcast can be, at least on a very broad and superficial level, the beginning of learning and the beginning of reconsidering that you don't have control of your mind. Reconsider that you are the subject of these emotions and start to see yourself as having the opportunity to control that, to be in charge of that,
Hmm.
to understand it. And then from there, it used to be just our practice, reaching out to people and saying, hey, like if you want some help, we're here. Um, and that's been good. Um, it's been a flow,
Hmm.
right? Sometimes an overwhelming flow,
Yeah.
and sometimes an intermittent flow. And it's been a great learning experience for us as hypnotists. Because, like I said, I find that there are a lot of things that we all um, are engaged in with our mind that's not helpful.
Mhm.
And to learn that and see that it's so common across our world. What would you say you've learned from hypnotizing all these people?
Hmm. I've learned ways to forgiveness, and that's not just because I was learning about forgiveness last night, but like I I've felt, a change within me when I'm taking clients through recognitions of um where we sort of put ourselves sometimes in our mind. And I've learned that we are so much more powerful than we give ourselves credit for, or that we even think uh, we are. Honestly, I go back, and I know this is metaphysical stuff, but I go back to when we're moving energy out of the body. And this energy, we don't call it energy at first, it's an emotion, it's a feeling in the body. And it's an unhelpful feeling. It's a feeling in your gut, right? You're thinking about something and you feel it in your chest or your throat or your head, and we move it out. And, for lack of a better term or word, or maybe I don't know exactly what it is, but I call it energy, and we take that out. They take it out in their mind of their body and they put it out there in front of them. And then suddenly it's dissipated or gone. Like, that's amazing to me, right? That tells me that we are magical, that we have these abilities that um uh the client is learning, that I'm learning about. And I love to tell the client while they're doing it and afterwards again, you don't need to be in hypnosis to do this. Like, you can do this at home, you know?
Yeah, like wouldn't it be an incredible skill? Like for me, I think the impact, this is why I want to do this stuff, to explain to everyone that an emotion is a message,
Hmm.
right? It's a message. It's your mind telling you that something isn't quite right, that there's a certain thing going on here
Hmm.
that needs to change. And instead of having an emotion, turning it into a feeling, clinging to it, hanging on to it, hanging on to it for an extended period of time, adding to it with more of the same thoughts and emotions, getting it to the point where it's not even understandable anymore. And it's just overwhelming. It could be paralyzing. It could be infuriating. It could be completely confusing. And to step back from that, because I just don't think anybody teaches us this, to say this is an emotion, this is the emotion has a message. That message is asking me to act, to change some condition.
Mm.
And I need to do that. And when I do that, the emotion and the feeling dissipate. They quite literally dissipate because that's all they're there for. And then let them go, let them flow, let them just be gone. It's not relevant anymore. I understood the message. And so I don't need to hang on to this emotion anymore. I don't need to hang on to this thought loop that I've put myself in because I've broken out of it.
Mm.
And if everybody in the whole wide world was able to interpret their emotions meaningfully and then let them flow, the world itself would be so much more peaceful, right? It's the emotions and the ups and the downs attached to them that disturb our peace. Peace only exists in our mind. And when we can establish peace in our mind, we just act peacefully in the world. And if everybody's out there clearing out their emotions
Mm.
and not hanging on to them, not misinterpreting them,
Mm.
not misinterpreting the circumstances that they find themselves in. And this is where I think reframes really matter. We interpret what's going on around us differently. It's just, it has such an enormous internal impact that it changes the external world that we're in. And so, I remember discovering this. I remember reading for the first time The Secret Language of Feelings. I remember for the first time reading Louise Hay's, um, you know, book on ailments and dis-ease, and I remember these experiences that really reframed the way I thought of things and the absolute shift in my overall mood, in my overall comfort, in my overall day-to-day calmness, right? And so for me, like, just want to teach this stuff. I just want to get it out there. I just want people to be able to recognize that for themselves. I just want to do everything I can to help those of us living this human experience to find a way to use their mind to create peace.
Mhm. Yeah, and I believe that our platforms, whether it be podcast or school, um, YouTube, they
Face-to-face
can, yeah,
hypnosis.
face-to-face hypnosis, they can um, be that catalyst to help people feel better. And um, I encourage anyone listening, if you've made it this far, to uh, send us an email with a question about, you know, life or what you might want to hear about or learn about.
Yeah, send an email, go on our website, go into school, and I love that old line. I have this friend who seems to be suffering from this, right? I like just put it out there. What what could we possibly talk about that you might find helpful?
Hmm. I was saying to Les before we started the podcast, I like to ask my clients, and I would ask you, the listener, if you were to imagine yourself 3 months out from now, what questions would you need answered to reach that goal of yourself, right? What would you need to know or learn? Um, or even imagining the 3 month out self. What does that person look like? What do they feel like internally? What are they thinking? You know? And then we help you um, through back engineering the process how to get there. You know.
Yeah, to take that from a different perspective. Imagine yourself 5 years ago.
Hmm.
Just go back 5 years and just be there for a while with that old self and notice how much you've changed. You've changed a lot more than you thought you have.
Hmm.
The things that are important to you are not the same. The things you're doing with your time are not the same. The people in your life, some have come and gone, and some have evolved themselves. And this creates its own world of conditions that can be positive, can be difficult. In a 5 year period, there's a lot more change than we think there is. And I use that analogy, you're setting your bearing and you're heading across the sea. And 1 degree in my bearing right now doesn't seem to be important. But after 3 months of traveling, I'm a long way from where I wanted originally to be because, that 1 degree of difference points me in a direction that takes me hundreds of miles from the spot that I thought I was pointed at. And it's the mind is like that. The mind's processes are like that. They will just knock you off your bearings a little bit. Or more importantly, they can keep you constantly correcting towards the bearing that you want, right? So that even though you get a little bit off course, the bearing can be corrected because you can be aware of the thought habits that you have, the mind processes, programs that are engaged that take you off course a little bit,
Yeah.
right? And over a 5 year period, 5 years from now, we might take the simplest of reframes, right? I am not my thoughts. I am the thinker. I can change my thoughts. And in knowing the truth of that, and then finding yourself possibly hundreds of times a day saying to yourself, well, I'm not going to think about that. I want to think about this. Or these thoughts are not helpful. I'm moving on to something more helpful. Um, I don't have to think this way,
Mm.
right? Just being aware of that multiple times in your day can have the impact of creating a new habit, which constantly corrects your bearing
Yeah.
so that you actually find yourself 2 years from now with a more peaceful mind, with a more in control mind, a better skill at stopping negative thought loops and moving them towards helpful thought loops. And that would be an enormous skill, right? Like having that skill, having the ability to stop a negative thought pattern and learn how to replace it with a positive, like that's gonna pay back the rest of your life, right? And these are the kinds of things that I think are just it's sad that we don't teach this kind of stuff to little kids. It's sad that for most of us, our life gets into a crisis before we start embracing these simple ideas. It's frustrating that nobody seems to talk about this stuff, and it has such a wonderful impact on us. And we want to talk about this stuff, want to do everything we can to help you, you know, um, rein in that incredibly powerful thing called your mind and start really, really using it for your own good.
Yeah. I think, the issue with most of us, including myself, is that we all want the Amazon Prime mind, like everything we want there the next day, right? Every good emotion to be suddenly there. Um, and it takes time. It takes some time. Not as much time as you would imagine,
Hypnosis
but
really
it
can
does take
speed
time.
that up.
Oh yeah.
That's the nature of hypnosis. The nature of hypnosis is instead of just being in your conscious mind and thinking, I don't like this, you take the time to get into your subconscious mind and you discover the series of experiences that have created a belief that isn't helpful, that's causing you to make choices that aren't helpful. So then hypnosis is great because we can go right to those experiences and we can reinterpret them and we can see what a better thought pattern would be. And because you're in a theta state and because you're open to change and because you want the change more than anything else, your subconscious mind can make those shifts. And then from that moment, right? From that moment immediately, you're making different choices. You're interpreting things differently and making different choices accordingly.
And it doesn't seem to be conscious, those choices. What I mean by that is, like many clients, including one recently, have come to me and said, um, I'm just acting differently. And it's not even a thought to act differently. It just is happening. And yeah, and then I heard a couple days ago, they said to me, why isn't this mainstream? Why isn't this something that people are talking about? I don't understand. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation, but
Yeah, it is. It's a huge conversation. We can have that conversation if it interests, right? I think that it's worth talking about that which interests you.
mhm.
Yeah, I've had clients who just say to me, I don't understand it. Like, what happened? I had one client, we didn't even get to hypnosis.
Yeah.
We didn't even actually have a session. We just had a meeting. And at the end of the meeting, he said to me, well, I already feel like it's different. And then we never had hypnosis because the problem was gone, right? Um, I think that you know the way it can make such a change in your life. I couldn't count the number of men who have said to me, I just don't get angry anymore. I
Hmm.
just don't get angry anymore. And and the amount of peace that brings them. Because people who get angry don't enjoy being angry.
Mm-mm.
It's not like, oh boy, I get to be angry today.
Yeah. And this is just coming to me right now. You've worked with people on anger. I've recently worked with, people with anger. Over the years, I've worked with people on anger, but it's recent in my mind, so I'm thinking it now. It is very easy to release the pent-up anger. Like that is even easier than working with anxiety, I feel like. Um, I mean, one session and you've changed your reaction to things.
Well, I think we can
Yeah.
quickly in hypnosis release emotions.
Yeah.
And when we can spot the trigger of the emotion, the thing, the interpretation, the meaning we're putting on events around us that triggers that emotion,
Yeah.
then we can stop it forever,
Yeah.
right? And so it's really that simple. I mean, it doesn't often take multiple sessions.
Hmm.
And this is the stuff, that we're working on, that I'm working on for the school, is to try to put together, short instructions and, recorded hypnotic meditations that will move these reframes into place and make a difference.
Yeah.
And now instead of trying to fit 5 clients in a day, it's possible to help 500 people in a day who sign up for the school and listen to the recordings. And that's the way we're thinking. But yeah, but there's a relationship thing, right? This is a relationship thing. I don't know that we can know each other's names, but we can be connected because we have a similar goal and we can communicate with each other because um, knowing that each other is going through similar processes and knowing that um, that things can change and we can be connected, and you can ask questions and I want to be there for your questions and I want you to ask them and then we can begin the process through a podcast and a new recording and a new meditation. We can engage the process of helping more people with what is really, really unfortunately common in our world. We all suffer, and it's really common. And we can be friends and allies working on this together. Yeah, I just really yearn for more connection with all of you out there.
And I think that can happen in many ways through our school. We're going to have office hours. If you go to the calendar and have a look, there's going to be question and answer group sessions.
I like these AMAs, these Ask Me Anything sessions. I
Mm-hmm.
like them.
Mm-hmm.
Ask me anything. If I don't have an answer, you can be absolutely sure I'm going to go find one.
Yep.
That's the way I work. I just like, oh, that's a great question. And
Yep.
I don't have an answer, but I will tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
And if it doesn't go that fast, then we'll find one together. So please reach out and communicate. Send email. We've got a spot on the website where you can send us a comment totally anonymously, but you don't have to be anonymous. I mean, our emails are there. Send us emails. If I can help, I want to. That's what I think is the purpose of my life, is to be helpful. I can't think of a higher calling than to be helpful. And most of us, whatever it is we do, that's what we're trying to is be helpful.
Yeah.
And I just want to be. And send an email, reach out, say, Les, you said you talk to anybody. Come on, talk to me. And I would love to. It would be my blessing.
I love that. People can reach out to both of us and yeah, sign up for the school if you wish.
Big chunk of it is free.
Hmm.
We're actually changing and re-recording our introduction videos. But the new introduction video is basically what we talked about today, which is, we want to be helpful. We want to help you. So give it a try. There's a whole bunch of free stuff. See if it's helpful. Listen to the podcast. Some of you already are, obviously. Listen to the podcast. Try some of the videos. Try some of the meditations. If you find it at all helpful, then dive in and let's work together and let's see how much we can accomplish.
Just so you know, if you do join us live, if you ask a question in the chat, we're not going to be calling out your name live. We just say, well, in the chat it says, the question. So you are anonymous if you want to join. We'd love to have you here. All the information to reach out to us is in the description, wherever you're listening to this, whether it be YouTube, Buzzsprout, Apple, Spotify, wherever it is. You will find all the links to reach out to us.
Track us down.
Yeah. All right. So have a good day, and we'll see you later.